There are women that counted that cost, but the only thing they wanted was a husband who can provide. That was all that they wanted. I want a man who can buy me Fendi and Gucci. I want a man who can take me shopping. A man who can take me on holidays. But now when the children came, they realized Fendi and Gucci is not going to raise the child. It's not going to bath the child. Shopping trips and holidays to Hawaii are not going to put the child to bed. It's a parenting job that both mother and father must be present to do. Chapter 14, verse 28. For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Lest haply, after he hath laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him, saying, This man began to build and was not able to finish. I know this scripture in context is speaking about our walk with Christ. It's speaking about Christianity. It's speaking about answering the call of God upon your life, but it's also relevant to parenting. Parenting is beyond having a child. It's beyond getting pregnant, carrying a child for 9 months, or adopting a child. But this principle urges us, no matter the situation in life, to count the cost. Sit down and consider. It's wisdom. It's a principle of wisdom that tells us that it's very important to count the cost of whatever that we are starting in life. When you want to get married, you count the cost by deciding, I want a man that does this, a man that is able to do this, a man that is able to bring such and such a thing to the table. You're already counting the cost when you put a list together, whether it's physical, whether it's in your prayers, whether it's in your heart. You have created a list that removes certain things that are not right for you, for the marriage that you want to have. Even you yourself, when you step into marriage, you say, I want to be at a certain level in my prayer life. I want to be at a certain level, maybe financially. I want to be at a certain level in my education. Perhaps you want to finish university before you get married. And so you are already counting the cost. It's the same when it comes to having children. You must count the cost. Now, when you are getting married, before you get married, there's a certain system that you and your spouse need to put in place in your household. For example, you need to decide who's going to be doing the cooking. Are you both going to be doing the cooking when you get married? Is it just you as a woman that is going to be doing all the cooking for the rest of the marriage? Is your husband going to be doing any cooking? Is he going to be doing any cleaning? Are you going to be doing all the cleaning? You must sit down and put a system in place. You don't just get married and say, let's go with the flow, because that brings frustration in the marriage. This is whereby one person feels like they're carrying a lot more than the other person because they've not sat down and put a system in place. A system is like a track. It's like a road track that allows the vehicle of marriage to move smoothly. It's like a road in place, a road that has been tarred and it's smooth and it has clear direction and a clear path. So it allows the vehicle of marriage to move one swiftly, easily, and clearly, because you have set a system in place. Before you have children, you must already have a system in your household in place in terms of your marriage, so that when you have children, you are just building on that system, on that road that is already there. This is whereby if you don't have a system in place of who cooks, who cleans, who does what in the household, your finances, how they work, when children come into the picture, this is whereby only one person is bathing the children. Only one person is taking the children to bed. These are things that you must sit down and calculate the cost with your future spouse, if you're already married, with your husband. Because when you are pregnant, I would say the first maybe 3 months or 4 months, a lot of women cannot move. A lot of women are vomiting. They feel sick. They are just not in a position to be cooking every day, to be cleaning every day. So this is where your husband has to step in. And sometimes your husband will have to cook every day and clean every day, because you are carrying a generation, you are carrying the future. And so there must be an understanding. It's a system that you must put in place. Marriage is not just about you and your spouse. When you step into marriage, you must be able to see into the future. So when you step into the marriage, you must already know, before you say I do, you and your husband should already sit down and have had a discussion about children. Do you want children immediately? Do you want children a little bit later? If you want children a little bit later, that means you have to also put in a system in place that allows you to wait a little bit later, whether it's 2 years, whether it's 3 years, whether it's a year. This is where you go to your GP and you have a discussion with your GP. I don't know in your country what they call them. Here they call them a GP. So the GP that has to do with the family planning, has to do with contraception, has to do with things like that. So you want to sit down with them as a couple, or maybe you can go as a woman on your own. You have a discussion with your fiance at the time, and you go to the GP, maybe as individuals or maybe together. You go and you have a discussion. What works better for you? Because there are women who are Christians who don't believe in contraception. I'm not here to tell you what to use and what to do. I'm simply here to provide this wisdom. So when children come into the picture, you've set a structure in place. Everybody knows their role. There are some marriages that are very traditional, whereby your husband doesn't want to do any cooking. Your husband doesn't believe in that because he wasn't raised that way. But you love the cooking, you love the cleaning, you love that. So as long as it works for your marriage, that's what's important. Your marriage is not like so-and-so's marriage. Your marriage is your marriage, and it must work for the both of you, for the benefit of you and your husband. So when children come in the picture, it's like the structure that is there remains. Who does what? Who is doing this? And so when it's time to bath the children, it's time to feed the children, the structure that was already laid is what will be. You will find that when you have children, perhaps it's just one child, your child needs you. Your child needs you. And your spouse needs to understand that. When you are breastfeeding and when you are maybe not breastfeeding, either way, your child needs you. So they will need you 24/7, especially as a mother. They will need you 24/7. And your husband is there to support you with the child, especially when they are quite small and maybe, let's say, under 6 months or under a year. You support each other when it comes to these things, because you've already put a structure in place for your household, for your finances, where you are supporting each other in a way that works for you in your marriage. And so when the children come into the picture, you've already counted the cost. So when it's time to bath the children, it's not a problem. When it's time to put the child to bed, it's not a problem. And when it comes to putting children to bed, it's not something that only the mother does or only the father does. When it comes to putting children in bed, I would recommend that you as a mother and also the father, you both put the child to bed. But if you're breastfeeding, I know in some situations they sleep on your chest and then you put them to bed. That's understandable. But when it comes to putting children to bed, this is a joint thing. When it comes to bathing children, this is a joint thing. When it comes to feeding children, this is a joint thing. This is where counting the cost comes. When you are engaged, these are discussions that you need to have. And these are discussions that must be followed through. when this vision and this perspective becomes a reality. So you must follow through the discussions that you had when you were engaged. This is where characteristics come in. The characteristics of your fiance, the characteristic of your husband, are they somebody that keeps their word? Are they somebody that is truthful? Are they somebody that you can trust? Are they somebody that can honor what they said they would do? It's very important. Counting the cost begins before marriage. You know, there are women that counted that cost, but the only thing they wanted was a husband who can provide. That was all that they wanted. I want a man who can buy me Fendi and Gucci. I want a man who can take me shopping. A man who can take me on holidays. But now when the children came, they realized Fendi and Gucci is not going to raise the child. It's not going to bath the child. Shopping trips and holidays to Hawaii are not going to put the child to bed. It's a parenting job that both mother and father must be present to do. It's very important. Being a mother and a father is beyond buying things. It's about availability. It's about being present. It's a passion to be a mother and a father. You see yourself in your child and you want them to be better than you. You are raising children that are better than you. Parenting, counting the cost, it's beyond buying presents. When you are looking for a husband, you must see beyond them buying things for you. Are they going to be a good father? And you can tell by what they say. You can tell when you ask the right questions. And it's not necessarily how they grew up, because people can make a decision and a choice. There are many sons who grew up in abusive households, in households where the father wasn't maybe faithful, but they made a decision to not repeat that pattern. We all have a choice, and we all can make decisions that align with the word of God. We can make a choice. So don't be afraid, or don't write off a man because he didn't grow up in the nuclear family structure. Don't write him off because maybe he has made a choice that he's going to raise children that are better than him. And you don't come from such a perfect family either. And you have decided that you want to raise children that are better than you, that have better opportunities than you had. Counting the cost.